You're going to have to say Chris and John because we're
Yeah,
both the same thing.
yeah. I remember that. Yeah. Um, so we should be live momentarily here. Let's see here. Uh, okay, we seem to be live here. Let's see. I gotta turn something off here.
I'm
Okay.
frozen.
All right. We are live.
I'm hooked
Uh,
into the Ethernet, but it's doesn't seem that steady.
well, give it a moment. It might take a moment to get good. Uh, are you seeing? Hi everybody. If you're listening in, we're at the DC Hi-Fi Group Live YouTube stream. We're kind of still getting things kind of sorted out. I see a bunch of people signed in. Evan and Scott and Dennis. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. I have some audio in the background too, playing some bass music. I can't hear it through my monitoring setup, but you might be able to. It's a new album from Michael Manring. Give us a moment here while John and I kind of work through things. John, how are you doing there? You see the stream in the chat?
Yeah, I see this stream in the chat. Can you hear me?
I can still hear you. You're looking good. I see Paul Elliott just signed in.
Yeah.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Evan's there. Dennis,
And Simon, good
Simon.
morning. Excellent. Really appreciate you taking the Saturday morning to hang out with us for a little bit and see how this goes. This is our inaugural stream, so anything and all problems could go on, but we'll give it a shot here. But John is too loud. Okay, I'm gonna good feedback. Let me go into the.
I'm too loud.
It's all right. I'll adjust you here. Hang on.
I'm set at 50%
Right.
on the mic, but I
Yeah,
can try it
I
now.
can control it here, so no worries here. There we go. Hang on. Let me just. You wouldn't. People that are just watching wouldn't believe the stuff that's going on in the background. I've got about 4 applications multitasking here to do this because John is in his house. I'm in my house, and we're all bringing it together here over the internet. And and I'm doing video and audio switching, so it's an interesting. Uh, Group of technologies that I've had to pull together here, but I think it seems to be working. And let me work on John. John, talk for a moment, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm pulling you down a little bit. I brought you down about 10 dB.
Testing one, two, three.
Tell me if anybody give me feedback if John's keep talking, John. I'll
Yeah,
shut up for a moment and let see if the audio is good for you.
yeah. Your audio sounds great. I mean, it's
Right.
reasonable my system, but
Yeah. Well, but we're
if
doing it through Skype, so it's not what they're hearing. So. Um, Is Paul? Can you tell us if John is too loud? Say something again, John, please.
testing one, two, three. Are
Okay,
we
so
doing
now too low. Okay, all
too
right.
low?
We'll work on that. Hang on. Okay, I'll bring you up a bit. Okay, bring you up another 5 dB. Okay, we're gonna see how that goes.
How's
When
that
John.
sound, Paul?
Okay, Brian Cole says he can hear fine. Okay, I think we might be okay.
Well, everybody will have to adjust their sets.
Yeah. Okay. Good. We've got Scott in there, Brian. Good. We've got a lot of good Clausens in there. Great. Excellent. Dave is there. Good to see you guys. All our hi-fi buddies. It's been a long time, I know. I've hardly recognized anybody. My hair is really growing out here, so I'm in desperate need of a haircut at some point. But I won't bother you with that information. I guess we might as well kick it off here. Let me do one thing. I'll cut this other audio off probably. I don't know if you guys can hear the bass playing music in the background. I'll stop that for the moment. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Um, let's see here. As I said, I'm doing a lot of stuff that you guys don't see. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to turn it over to John and let him do his introductory speech, and then we can see where it goes. You ready to go, John?
Yeah, we're ready to go. I'm concerned on my end because I'm it's spitting and sputtering as far as video. Are you guys getting continual video or?
Yeah, you're looking good from my end, and anybody on the stream can comment. The stream says it's green, so that means we're in good shape from a stream
Okay.
health. So I would say go for it, John. And if people uh, don't like it, they'll tell us.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Because on my end, my screen keeps freezing and stuff. So it kind of freaks me out watching me freeze up while you're still talking.
Right, I'm gonna probably put you full screen while you go. So you go ahead, John.
All right. All right. Thanks, everybody, for checking in and giving us a chance to try this out. I never dreamed this thing would go on this long as far as the pandemic and being, locked down and everything. So, our face-to-face meetings, who knows when we'll be able to do those again. I'm hoping by, into the summer after July or whatever. But right now, meeting in big groups is out. So we needed to come up with some ways to do things with regard to allowing us to meet virtually and that sort of thing. And so I appreciate you guys bearing with us on this, and hopefully we can, with our YouTube channel and all our other portals, including the website. We have 2 Facebooks, a private and a public page. We have a Twitter, and we have constant contact newsletter and emails and such. So I think we have enough stuff that we can use as far as vehicles for working via the internet to be able to get together that way. So thanks for logging in. It was kind of short notice. Chris and I have been working on this for more than a week, and just trying out different things so we could get going. We're not locked into this all the time. Maybe there's other ways we can do it as well, to where other people can video chat along with us as well. But this was an easier way to approach it. So anyway, I guess everybody's, hopefully all the members that I've talked to so far have been pretty safe and have been able to hunker down and stay away from all this crazy stuff. I've actually been up with my family at the Delaware house. I was actually up there before. This kind of all started. I was working on a home theater review, and then once they talked about locking down and stuff like that, we went up there, took my elderly in-laws. My father-in-law is almost 85 years old, and so we wanted to protect them, and there were fewer cases up there, and so they've just kind of been locked in up there. So I've been working from there, and I've come back a couple of times to get extra stuff to work with, but I usually just drive straight through the 3 hours. I never stop anywhere, and I just kind of hang here at the house, and then I go back. So anyway, anybody have any questions or anything about the format that we're working here, as far as understanding how you're hearing us, you're seeing Chris and I, and then you're chatting. So is there any questions on that with regard to how it's all working?
Well, I see that some people are talking about a Zoom meeting. Yeah, there's a bunch of different technology. I've participated in Zoom meetings. There's also a bunch of other people. Microsoft has a new thing called Teams that they're promoting as well, and also Google has something called Meet, I think it's called. These are in various stages of rolling out. So we can try any and all of those at some point. The only thing I've participated in, seen some large Zoom meetings, depending on the number of people, and sometimes they can get a little cumbersome just because of the larger numbers of people. But sorry, I was just making a change here. When I pause, it means I'm distracted by something. But anyway. Yeah, we can try all of those out and see how they work. Obviously, with the multi-video audio thing, again, it'll be a little bit more chaotic possibly, but we can give it a try and see how it works and see what everybody prefers. And we always have this outlet as well where we can kind of broadcast as well to everybody. And we probably, I hadn't discussed it with John, but I think we could also maybe have more people I'm using Skype is the way to do conference calling here. So there may be a way to add people in or have guests or something or interviews or something like that. So we'll explore all of this. And yeah, see, Evan says he was on a Zoom with unheard people. And yeah, there's definitely the possibility. And I guess not everybody has to be talking. And sometimes it can be a many to one kind of thing. So we'll try them all. Yeah, see, Zoom has vulnerabilities. Yeah, there's some controversy. I know about that as well. So, yeah, we'll try everything and see what people like, and we're open to suggestions. And it's a brave new world, as they say. John?
Yeah. I know with Zoom or whatever, you can get more video participants, but I think how many participants can we get on the YouTube live thing here? I mean, how many could we actually tie into this?
Well, it's kind of on the broadcasting end. It's a kind of one to many things. So we could have many people viewing this, hundreds, thousands of people just seeing it and participating in the chat. It's just limited with YouTube on how many people could be video chatting with us. I think I could add some more people through Skype, so as I said, we could have a handful more people maybe that way. But if we want to do a broad video chat, Zoom might be the better way to go, or one of these other things I mentioned.
Right, but we could possibly get like four people sort of narrating and discussing, and then
yes.
chat. I like this approach from a meeting kind of standpoint in some sense, because it's like you said, it's a little bit more orderly, because you have sort of the discussion points and everything like that. Then everybody can comment via the text. It's pretty orderly. I like it's kind of nice like this, at least for what we're doing today.
Yeah, I agree. It'll probably depend on if we just want to have a group chat, a tongue wag, as they say,
Yeah.
or versus if let's say we get a person from another part of the country that we want to interview or talk to, who am I thinking of? The guy with the first Watt guy I like to talk about.
Nelson Pass.
Yeah, Nelson Pass. Couldn't think of his name. Something like that. If we had big interview like that, it probably would make sense to do it like this, as you say. That's how people are doing this type of thing. Right. So, this is a brave new world for us, and we'll just keep going on, and people definitely, I'm sure, will give us feedback. I want to remind everybody that the forums are open and running, and the DC Hi-Fi group forum, and that's a good place to have discussions and feedback for all of this, and probably anything that we discuss here that you want to know about, we'll follow up with a posting or something as well. Back to you, John. What else would you like to cover?
Yeah, just to say, my wife does use Zoom for work, and it works well for those. They usually do, I think, like 10 people at a time, and it seems to work well. So we'll give that a shot as well. So appreciate like I said, everybody participating. As for DC Hi-Fi group stuff that's going on right now, since we're sort of in the pause mode for in-person meetings and our great lunches and everything. So we're trying to figure out, like I said, to do different things. And I wanted to chat a little bit about having the YouTube channel, because we discussed that last year about doing that anyway, independent of what's going on now. And so we could use that for our members, so we could start figuring creative ways to use it as far as shooting video and allowing members to upload and that sort of thing. So we could come up with a lot of different kinds of angles on that, as far as people showing their systems, doing some reviews, like you said, interviews, that sort of thing, and also live streaming or shooting the video of our meetings and posting those things. So it's now that we have the channel and that we know that it works and we have it and everything, so we can start figuring ways to utilize it and fulfill its potential.
Yes. Yes, yes, I'm very excited about it. We live in a video world, and I've always thought, and John and I have discussed many times, that I think YouTube could be a great asset to our bag of tricks, so to speak. And you know, I'm toying with the idea of maybe doing a little video about my various audio setups here at my house, maybe, or something. I might do something. So that's one thing I could be able to post here, and you know, we can do tutorials or any, you know, it's really only limited by any kind of imagination. And yeah, I see Donald saying Google Meet is now free. Yeah, that's one we can take a look at some point. Yeah, there's plenty of things. All the technology companies are rushing to fulfill this new egg salad. Okay, yeah, I guess we don't have anything to eat. We can't bring John's Good catering to the YouTube, but maybe virtually we can all agree to have a snack or a drink, raise a beer or something.
That's right. The virtual beer.
Right. Very good. I had a few things, John. I don't know if you wanted to continue, or I can talk about a few things.
Well, I just wanted to update a couple of things here on
Yes.
schedule. You know, we were talking about doing that kiosk trade show. You know, it originally had been tentatively scheduled for towards the end of June at the Garrett Park location at the historic town hall. Of course, all those meetings are off now, so I don't know when we're going to be able to do that again. Maybe in the fall, combine it with the rummage sale and that sort of thing. So I wanted to, you know, that was something on the near future. And as far as you know, meetings, as I said, it'll probably be, you know, towards the end of summer before we'll ever to meet personally again. But also, I wanted to just chat about a few things like other trade shows. I think Paul knows on this. I think Expona has finally been canceled for this year. Totally, is that correct? Anybody know?
I think the last I saw, John, hang on. The last I saw in Exponent is I think it has they got kind of pressured by the people that would be attending. Yeah, okay, Paul's confirming it's been
Yeah.
canceled. Um, yeah, so that's the last I heard. I think, yeah. I haven't heard about anything else. I guess we're still hanging tight. Gary's not here, of course, but hanging tight to see if no, by November, you know, the Capital Hi-Fi Fest will, okay, RMAF is going to be next. I guess what's that in September or so, October there. So I haven't heard much about that. So hopefully, maybe by then they'll figure out how to social distance at hi-fi shows. It may be a matter of maybe limiting people, you know, so many to a given room at a time or something. You know, that's what, you know, they're doing with restaurants.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, so I'll just run down a list of things that I have here that I just wanted to bring up as far as I've been talking to, you know, the audio goings on around the area, whatever. I've been talking to some of our dealer members and other dealers and other folks or whatever. And, you know, the dealers, you know, some of the dealers are kind of open, you know, based on sort of, I think you can, you know, order and that sort of thing. I know Russ has sent me a thing with regard to what he's doing, and he's actually selling stuff based on, you know, like phone orders and things like that. I know some people have come over to pick up stuff from him that they pay for it and he leaves it out on the stoop or whatever. And so, you know, that's working, I guess, as much as they can, you know, possibly fit that into however they're doing business. So, but other than that, you know, a lot of people are still buying gear mail order. I talked to some of the manufacturers and like Benchmark and guys like that, and they still have, I think, a couple of factory guys who are assembling and things like that. And you know, people are still working. So I think that you know, there's stuff available and people are ordering it online, that sort of thing. I've ordered a couple of audio widgets. I've paid for a lot of download music, including that Hot August Night that we're giving away today. By the way, Matt, you were the first one to text on the chat, so you won the Hot August Night Deluxe Edition. So congratulations on that. And So I think people are able to get around and do things with regard to audio. I'm sure, maybe there's some members and stuff that I've met, maybe a little bit individually and that sort of thing. I'm sure not in groups. From the dealer perspective, I know that that Dr. Vinyl Jose is back in biz. I've heard from him. I talked to him yesterday. He's opening. Or he's going to be moving to a new place, and so he's going to be handling some new lines and that sort of thing. Paul might be able to chat in on something like that. So if I just see he mentioned that the website is open and everything, so he'll be open for business and at the new location very soon. And I see that Dennis from Leesburg Listening Room has logged in, and Dennis, I guess you're doing, like as you said, you're doing the same thing as far as working for business people, ordering and that sort of thing. So you're able to still maintain and still be able to make the sales and everything, which is really good. Russ told me that he's picked up some new lines. And hang on a second, get back into my notes here. And let's see. Oh yeah, I just wanted to let you know that Russ wanted to let you know that he still has some copy of the MoFi's Yes Fragile and Thelonious Monk's Dream. Also, new releases from MoFi, Stay Hungry from Twisted Sister, T-Rex Warrior is now on SACD. And he's got a sale on Quad, Wharfdale, and a bunch of other stuff. And he's now selling Hagel, if you guys are familiar with Hagel DACs. And they have a nice integrated amp too. The Hagel DACs are really, really good DACs. And I've tested them before. They're very, very good sounding, quite impressive. And also he's finally got the new Bryston DAC streamer in, as well as a supply of the new 14B 3, the big stereo amp. So that's what's going on with Russ. He just handed that off to me this morning as far as stuff that's going on with them. Dennis, anything new on your end? Since I think you're maybe the only dealer participating right now. Anything new on your end as far as what you're handling? If you can chat that in on the text. And then let's see, as far as just some of the updates from members, I know that Tom Parazella, I don't know if Tom's in on this, but I think he's close to getting his house completed, so he'll be moving from the area, which we'll miss him on that, but he's going to remain kind of like a ex officio member. And I think Evan Rosenberg, aren't you moving as well to the Carolinas? Anyway, I think he had told me about that. So anyway, as far as other dealer news and that sort of thing, that's all I know. Chris, what did you have new? You had some things that you wanted to bring up as well.
Yeah, well, I just had a few things I thought I like to share with the group what I'm up to, and sometimes it's interesting to people. I guess I'll just go down my list here real quick. Basically. I posted some of these things already to the forum. So again, that's going to be your place if you want to check out. I try to post there every once in a while with some interesting tidbits. And I did post recently that the Nelson Pass Amp Camp preamp. Some of you will remember that I demoed for the group many moons ago, whenever that was, the Amp Camp amp that Nelson passed, the little 8-watt beauty that we listened to in Class A, and really nice little amp. He's now come out with a design for DIYers. It's called the Amp Camp preamp, and I posted links and a picture of it up on the form. I think it might be sold out the first batch, but you can get on the list for another build when they do it. I think I'll get it sometime this summer. Hopefully, is what they were anticipating. Should be it's a very simple. It uses a chip. I think it's actually some kind of interesting hybrid tube chip from Korg. I think that's a Japanese company. So I don't know a lot about that, but it should be. It looks kind of innovative. So I'll maybe if I get it built, we'll do another follow up, and I can do a preamp and the amp together, John, sometime at a future meeting where we actually can demo stuff again. I think that's interesting. This is a little bit off subject, but I think relevant to a lot of people. I did a post about a new technology that I think is kind of underreported right now, but people are going to start to hear about it. It's called ATSC 3.0. This is in regard to our broadcast standard for high definition TV. Many of you will remember back, I guess now, 15 years ago or so, we started to do the transition to our current what's called ATSC 10, which gave us high definition 1080p broadcasts in the United States, and everybody had to get a new TV or tuner. Well, they're rolling out a new version, and this new version is very exciting. This is going to give over-the-air broadcast 4K multi-channel Atmos and all this good stuff capabilities over the air. It uses a codec called H.265 or HEVC, if you heard of that, which is a very efficient codec. The current standard is MPEG-2, which is less efficient. When you watch Netflix and all these streaming channels now, they're pretty much using the H.265 because it's a very efficient compression codec. And so I expect reception, and also what's interesting is if you don't look at over-the-air TV, and most people don't, but I do. There's actually these things called sub-channels. So you can, you tune into what we know as channel 4, even though that's not their frequency anymore. But and they have sub-channels. They'll have a couple of different channels that you can watch, not the main channel, and then maybe a slightly lower resolution channel. The PBS channels. WETA and NPT here both have about 4 different channels and with different programming and that kind of thing. And with this new standard, that will increase. And also, there's a level of interactivity because there's an internet connection aspect that one can use. It's going to be very interesting. So the problem is right now there's not very many people broadcasting. I think there's like 5 maybe markets or 5 channels in the whole U.S. But they're supposed to, by the end of the year, 40 of the top markets will have something up and running, including the D.C. area. And also, there's no TV really out there right now that can receive it, but there's an innovative company called Silicon Dust, which I've been using for many years, which creates what they call network tuners. These are little boxes that you plug into your Ethernet, your internet that you have, and then it will broadcast a video signal to all your devices via your local area network, your Wi-Fi and Ethernet network in your house, and you can watch the TV that way. And they have both products. One's called the Quattro that allows you to hook up an over-the-air antenna, which is what I'm now doing. But they also have one that accepts a cable card, which I've used in past as well, which if you've got Fios, for example, you can get a cable card and plug it in that way. So, and you can they have a DVR feature and all that kind of stuff, so it's very convenient. Silicon Dust just did a Kickstarter, and they're going to be the first to ship a tuner. It's only $200. It'll be out this summer and allow you to start receiving the ATSC signals over the air, and then using this product, you can put it on your network and watch it on whatever, your computer, your TV. There's apps everywhere for it to work. So it's going to be very exciting to see how that evolves. I think it's a big upgrade, visually and audio-wise. It'll support, I think, maybe even up to 7.1 audio, and I know Atmos is involved. That's one of the latest codecs. So I'm kind of excited about it, and I think it kind of fits into the home theater thing that we cover every once in a while. So I can keep going, John, or did you want to interject anything?
No, that sounds interesting. The wanted to ask you about the it was, I'm trying to remember the product that you were building a while back. The Class D amplifier.
Yes.
Yes, we were talking about demoing that somewhere along the line, right?
Right. Well, I think we did do one demo a while back, but since you bring up the Class D, I will do a shout out. I have in-house, I've been working with one of my favorite companies, Emotiva, located down in Nashville, Tennessee. They do some really nice products. I'm sure you've heard about them and seen them reviewed. And they are now building a lot of their products here in the U.S. As well. And they have a very nice monoblock Class D amplifier. It's called the PA1, and it uses the ice power module. Pretty much, they just basically stick it in a box and hook it up in a nice little box, and they sell those they're in around the $300 each, so you need two for stereo. And actually, they have this sale going on right now called Emo Bucks, where you can get a pretty good discount. So I'd say for about $500, you could buy a pair of these. These put out about 150 watts into 8 ohms. I think about 300 watts into 4 ohms. These are killer little amps for, I think, just about any setup. Drive just about any speaker, and if you're looking for some nice amplification for not a lot of money, I recommend them. John?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like Emotiva gear. Don't you have Emotiva home theater?
Yes, I do. My home theater is Emotiva based as well. I have their XMC1 processor, which I've been very happy with. We've got it pretty much right when it came out, and it's been a very stable. They've had firmware updates and everything, and it's been very stable. I'm actually just got a notice today. They offer for longtime customers a trade-up value where you can trade in my XMC1 for their new XMC2, which is their brand new unit, and it's like $1,000 to do the upgrade. And the new unit has all the current codecs and technologies, 4K and all that kind of stuff. So I'm probably going to do that shortly because that's a killer deal in processors. I use it for surround sound and 2-channel listening. It's got an excellent, I think they're AKM DACs, very clean, very quiet. I have no complaints about it whatsoever.
Nice. Speaking of Class D, I was talking to Michal at Eurowitz at Mytek the other day. He's working on a new version of the Brooklyn amplifier, and it's a whole new version. I'm set to get one here in 2 weeks to have a listen at it. But he says it's a significant. The old one was really good, but he said it's a significant upgrade, and he thinks it's. Of course, he would say that it's one of the best sounding Class Ds he'd ever heard, and it's still in that same form factor. The size of a DAC, putting out about 300-400 watts. So I'm anxious to get a chance to listen to that. I should have it in a couple of weeks.
Excellent. I'd be very curious because I actually acquired that amplifier as well for my other system. As some of you know, I'm a little bit of a gear acquisition person and have quite a lot of stuff, and I use that in my living room system, and that's another excellent example of a great sounding Class D amplifier. That thing is a powerhouse, and it's ridiculous. It's the size of a book. It's insane how good that product is, and if he can make it better, that's great. That's fantastic. I'll just continue on quickly. A few other things. I purchased, and during this whole pandemic thing, I received the new PS Audio Stellar Phono preamp. This has been reviewed by Michael Fremer and other people, and has been getting some good notices. I think it's an excellent product. They had a bit of a sale going on, and I was able to trade in an older product I had and got a very good deal on it. It's a 2-input device. The only thing I didn't realize, you can't have like 2 moving coils or 2 moving magnets. You have to have one input is moving coil, one's moving magnet. It's not it's a little different. My Gold Note Phono preamp I've talked about, it actually allows you to do both, 2 of both if you want, but it's not a big limitation. And it's probably not a big deal. I'm only crazy one that has like 3 turntables set up at one time, but that's the way I roll. And I have that running. One of the turntables I have plugged into that is a Rega RP8 that I picked up a while back. They dropped those in price back a while ago, down to about 2,000. That's an excellent turntable. I'm very impressed with that. I'm running that with a Benz Glider cartridge I had that I had retipped by Soundsmith. And I put that all together, and I am very impressed with the sound I'm getting out of that combination. Very nice sound. Highly recommend. I think the Rega RP8, or maybe I guess it's just the P8 now, they've upgraded a little bit, is an excellent turntable. I think, if you're just looking for a real plug-and-play turntable, you can do a few tweaks we could talk about to make it maybe a little better, but they know what they're doing over at Rega. They definitely know how to make turntables. And I've got a lot of turntables, so I could go on forever about turntables, but I'm enjoying that right now. I also posted on the forum a little thing about the Schiit, as they say, Schiit company, as you know them. Their Sol turntable, SOL is the turntable. They had a little bit of teething problems, as some of you know, rolling that out. I was in on had purchased an early unit. They were very good about offering me a kind of a beta discount after the fact, and sent me a bunch of updated things, including a new arm, a new motor stand, new pulleys, all sorts of things as they kind of tweaked the design a little bit. I think the design is now very nice. It's about, I think, $700. I think it comes now with a cartridge, a very nice Audio-Technica cartridge. I think this is a very nice turntable if you're interested in really getting into learning about turntables and tweaking. I mean, if you just want to do a plug and play, the Rega turntable is excellent, and that's the way to go. But if you want the option maybe down the road of swapping in some more cartridges, because the arms are swappable on the Sol turntable, and you can buy a bunch. I think they're a couple $100 for the tone arm. I think it's a pretty killer turntable for the money. One thing that kind of intrigued me was in the last package they sent me some new lubrication, which is important in bearings and things for turntables. And it was a type of lubrication that I had not heard before called Cristo Lube, nothing to do with me at all. And I posted a link up on the forum, and if you read the link, someone from Schiit Audio responds and talks about how they came about it. Apparently, this is some very advanced lubrication materials that they're using on the next Mars rover. So this thing apparently is some kind of really high-tech lubrication, and they're very pleased with it. And so I've applied that, and I think I found it to be very, very good, and ironed out any issues in that area of the turntable. And you can actually get a free sample of this lubrication from the company. I tracked it down, and they have a page. Again, I linked to it on the forum, where you can do an order, and they'll send you a little 2-ounce container of the stuff, and that's probably good for a couple of turntables. So, in turntables, you can never tweak too much. There's always another thing to pursue. So, lubrication, I think, is important. So, if you're interested in trying it out, I encourage you to do that as well. Let's see. I've got a bunch of things show and tell here. I talked about this at our last meeting. I'm really into Raspberry Pi and its audio uses for streaming audio and stuff. And I was able to get, luckily, this new I'm going to be holding it up here, this new amplifier that you put on top of a Raspberry Pi. I got it from Germany. And it's a 40 watt Class D amplifier that just goes right on top of actually the smallest, they call it the Pi Zero. And you can see it there. I don't know if I got it in the camera there. Hopefully you can see it. Oh, move the wrong way. Try it. So I haven't had a chance to implement it yet, but when I have some free time, I will sit down and set it up and see how it sounds. And I'm kind of intrigued. It's this company called Merus. Well, it's the company's Infineon, but the product's called Merus, and it's just amazing, the technology. So that could be kind of interesting. On the subject of, I always like to talk about the Magnepan LRS, my little ribbon speakers that I'm very in love with. Continue to tweak. The last tweak I did was got some new stands for those, and those are doing very well. And I finally implemented, I had a small little REL subwoofer called the T5. Tiny little guy. I guess it has an 8-inch sub, maybe very, very small, diminutive, as they say, and hook that up. And REL has a very unique way of connecting with your amplifier. They use what's called a high-level connection. And you have to be a little careful. I actually blew up the amp in my REL sub originally because of I was hooking up to a Class D amp, and you have to be a little careful there. But yeah, the trick is you got to have what's called a floating ground, which they now advertise and talk about. It's very easy to set up. And I have to say, by adding that sub around the 60 hertz area, or probably is crossing over, it has now made these speakers a full range speaker. I got to have John or somebody over here to verify it with me, but I'm playing pipe organ stuff and all sorts of wild stuff, and the room is just energized. It's a perfect match for the LRS sub. It's a $500 sub. REL's famous for making their subs out of England. They've been around forever. And so the LRS, which is about $700 shipped to your door, the REL is $500. $1,200. I think this is a killer sounding system. I'm very pleased. So if you are interested, ask me questions on the forum. Okay, I'm going to stop there, John. I've been talking for a while. Maybe you're recharged, and maybe you can add some more things.
Yeah, I just wanted to chat a little bit about the get back to since we're going to be not meeting for a while, at least in the real near future, is talk about the all of our different portals that we have available to the DC Hi-Fi group. The website is first and foremost with the forum, and so I just want to make it, just highlight a little bit that we have the website in the forum. We have the private Facebook page, which I think we have a number of people on there, about 40 people or so. And then we have the private Facebook page, which the public, which anybody could read and that sort of thing. I usually don't prevent stuff from getting on there unless it's way off base. So we have the two Facebooks. The private, if you want to get onto the private one and you haven't gotten on yet, you just have to message John Gatski through Facebook. And then I'll enable it, because that doesn't show up in any search engines or anything. It's a totally private comment page, and you can only get on there by me, the administrator, letting you on that. And then, of course, we have the emails, DC Hi-Fi Group at Verizon.net, and we have Constant Contact, which I do the newsletters, and also that integrates with email, so that works as well. And then we can text back and forth. I think you guys have the text messages and everything. You can text me, and also I think I put out on the email yesterday the Google Voice. You can also text as well on that. So we have plenty of opportunities, to communicate with each other while we're not be able to do it in person in any large way. So I just want to emphasize that. And if you guys want to participate in any one of these portals and you're not doing it. Oh yes, I forgot to, and Paul, Chris reminded me, we also have a Twitter page too. So we have plenty of social media out there. So I hope that, through those, who's ever a member of those various social media can, participate in whatever way they see fit. So that's on that. As far as a couple other things I just wanted to mention was the music that we talked about at the February meeting that I made the recording of, Sedmara Rutstein, that live recording, which is about 47 minutes. She has given me permission to distribute it to you guys, the members of a DC Hi-Fi group. So I will do that. I'll probably set up a WeTransfer premium account so we can upload it there and then, give you guys a code or whatever so you can go up and get it. I'll be working on that over the next week or so. So I had a bunch of, questions about that. So, yeah, I wanted to make it available. And she said that we could go ahead and do that. So just let me know, or I'll let you guys know when I get something up there so we can download it. It's 24,192 PCM.
Okay.
One other thing, I had several members ask me about the summer party, and with all this stuff going on, and people not staying away from big groups. I haven't officially canceled it or whatever, but we'll just have to see. It's looking kind of doubtful because we're usually talking July, and it's still not that far away, and so it may maybe not be a good idea to have it this year. Maybe towards the end of the summer or something, we'll have something here, some kind of get together, a Labor Day picnic or something, if things are looking good by then.
Yes, time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
You're correct, and maybe we can hope for a beach party, but we'll just have to see. Since you're talking about music there, I'd like to talk about some music for a moment. I'm going to attempt to bring some music into the background. I can't hear it. I can see that it's playing, but the way that my monitoring's set up. Anybody tell me if they can hear some music in the background real quick? Watch the chat here because I'd like to talk about this briefly. Let's see. Anybody hearing any music?
I don't hear it.
Yeah, you're not going to hear it either, John, unfortunately, because I
Okay.
haven't figured out how to do all this advanced mixing yet. I'll figure it out one day. No music. Okay, I'm going to bring it up just a little higher and see if it comes in. And tell me. Let's see if it doesn't come in. Anything? Still no music. Okay, hearing no music. Okay, that was a failed experiment. Just ignore that then. Okay, well, anyhow, the music I was trying to play for you but didn't successfully do is my album for today. It just came out today. Oh, they did hear it. Okay, let me bring it up again here. It was kind of a low burbling bass stuff, so let's see. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. Okay, so they were hearing it, the delay and stuff. Are we hearing echo? Too much echo, yes. Can hear now? Okay. All right, I'll bring it down just a little bit here. Well, whether you can hear it or not, you can go check it out for yourself too. Okay, yeah, maybe I just better cut that out. I'll just bring that off since they're saying they're getting echo. Don't want to mess things up a little bit here. Sorry about that. Hang on, let me just make an adjustment. Okay, back with you. Okay. All right, well, anyway, what I was trying to play for you is an album. I'm going to call it the album of the day. Just came out. It's by a bass player, electric bass player called Michael Manring. If some of you guys have been around here for a long time, he was a local person at one point. He played in a local band called Natural Bridge, which was a band with a keyboardist named Greg Karukas. Some of you may know that keyboardist. I saw him play at the Cellar Door, if you remember that, years ago. Really talented. Plays kind of like Jaco Pastorius a little bit, if you fretless bass kind of sound. Well, he's got a brand new solo. I've turned the music off, but anyhow, his name's Michael Manring. It's called Small Moments. It's available for full fidelity FLAC download from Bandcamp. Highly recommend his work. If you like bass, and it's a solo bass album, might be a good uh, album to play on your hi-fi and test it out. He did a great album on Windham Hill years ago called Unusual Weather with another local guy named Bobby Reed, who was in a band called However, went on to become Bruce Hornsby's horn player, sax player. So good stuff. So anyhow, you might want to check that out if you're so inclined. I thought I'd show some recent LPs that I've gotten in the mail for people. I guess one album that's really good, sound quality here I'll put up, is the latest James Taylor album, available on vinyl. And it features John Pizzarelli on guitar. It's an album of not James Taylor songs, but standards, but it done in the only way that James Taylor can do songs in his own style. Great voice, great acoustic guitar. In fact, a bunch of his guitars are on the back here. So I highly recommend that. That you can get that in a high-res download, 96K from like HD Tracks. So I recommend that. Right before the big shutdown, I went to a great concert at Strathmore and saw Bruce Hornsby. Many of you know him. He's written some really big popular songs. The End of Innocence, I guess he did with the Eagles guy, Don Henley, I guess it is, and The Way It Is, and all those great songs. But Bruce Hornsby is just an amazing pianist. I mean, he does not like to be pigeonholed. He will cover jazz, folk, rock, and classical idioms all in one song. He is a amazing artist, and he had when I saw him, he had a group the group's called Y Music, which is a kind of an extended string quartet, and after like a solo portion, he collaborated with them, and they did a bunch of songs that are on this album I'm showing you, which is his latest album. I recommend this album highly if you're into adventurous music. It's got vocals. It's a Bruce Hornsby album, but it's all over the place. It's really neat, jazz, classical, all sorts of stuff. So really great album. That's called Absolute Zero. Highly recommend that. What else did I get here? Let's see. I've got two piles here. I'm a big fan of Bella Fleck. Great jazz. Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. He also does solo stuff. Amazing banjo player. Hold it up here so you can see. This album is a duo album with Tomani Diabate, if I'm pronouncing that right, playing the African kora, I think it's called. It's basically the African harp. Excellent, another excellent duo recording, adventurous, good kind of world folk music stuff. So you might want to check that out. Good hi-fi stuff usually. I'm into Brian Eno. He's come out with a lot of records of late. He's been pretty prolific, and he's just done an album with his brother Roger Eno. So double LP called Mixing Colors. So that might be something people want to look for. One of my favorite recording labels is the ECM record label out of Germany. They just celebrated their 50th year. These are the home to people like Keith Jarrett, Pat Metheny, Ralph Towner, Oregon, Carla Bley, all sorts of people. If you want to get on the cutting edge of what jazz is right now, this is often a label that you want to check out. This is an album by an Austrian guitarist named Wolfgang Muthsfeel, and it features Brian Blade on the drums, who is an exceptional drummer and has worked with Wolfgang on many albums before, and I'll talk about Brian in a moment again. So this is a new album just out on ECM. And speaking of Brian Blade is a drummer who has worked with people like Wayne Shorter, He's been worked with Joni Mitchell. He's played on a number of Joni Mitchell albums, and he has his own band called the Brian Blade Fellowship, which is this is a reissue of an earlier album. I highly recommend it. He's based in the the Louisiana, New Orleans area. Actually, I didn't realize this. This was produced by Daniel Lanois, who is famous for working with Brian Eno and U2 and those kinds of things. This is on Blue Note. Really interesting music. It's very jazz oriented, but with a real, it's almost hard to describe kind of vibe. Very melodic, but very interesting instrumentation. Things like pedal steel guitar, which you don't hear a lot in jazz, for example. I had the opportunity to see these guys live at Blues Alleys many years ago, and I was just floored. I'm in love with Brian Blade's music, and I can't recommend it more highly. His first couple albums are just, and in fact, the very first album, Joni Mitchell actually does a cameo on as well, which might be interesting too to hear. So yeah, this is just John Cowherd is the pianist, excellent piano player and pianist. Let's see, what else have I got here? I'm going to finish up here with a couple albums. These are two albums. Here's one. Just came out. It's a soundtrack to a movie, short movie, I think, called The Staggering Girl, and it's by Ryuichi Sakamoto. He is a Japanese composer. Many people will know him from YMO, Yellow Magic Orchestra, from many years ago, but he has scored some of the best and actually won an Oscar, I think, for oh boy, it's a Bernardo. The Last Emperor was the name of the movie by Bernardo Bertolucci, the Italian director, and he, I think, won an Oscar, Ryuichi, for that soundtrack. He also did the soundtrack, I guess, for something called Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, which is a famous film with David Bowie, and he's done many film soundtracks and classical compositions. I think he's an amazing composer and orchestrator, and so this is a very nice album, very good stuff. And then there's another, I think this is might be an Italian movie. It's called Proxima that I haven't seen yet. I don't know if it's been released yet. Again, by Ryuichi Sakamoto. Really highly recommend checking out his work if you're not familiar with him. Okay, John, those were my music recommendations. Back to you.
All right. I just wanted to add one more thing. I'm working on a couple of reviews, including Mike McGarry's SA2 tube amp, which is excellent. Paul has contributed some second opinion stuff as well. I like the amp a lot. Has a lot of dynamics to it, a lot more power than the other one, although the other one was really good, but it gives you extra headroom and everything. That's good. And also I'm working on MR's Borealis headphones, which are really, really good. I've tried it now with about 10 headphone amps, including a tube headphone amp, the new Benchmark headphone amp, some oldies but goodies, and it sounds great on everything. And those are really, really good headphones. You know, it has some aspects of like what the high-end AKGs have, which are, you know, sort of the headphones that I like. Very, very accurate with clean, tight bass, as opposed to a lot of headphones that have an exaggerated mid bass. So that's some of the things that I'm working on. Well, I see our hour is just about up here, so I appreciate everybody participating today. We had a good chunk of people in here, and good comments and chats and everything. And Chris, thanks for pulling this together technology-wise. I had to pull some extra gear together today just to get this thing to go on. I had a computer go out, so I had to hastily pull up another computer.
Yeah, it's always technology, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's amazing what it can do. But yeah, it's as I said, if people saw what I'm juggling back here, because I've got John on Skype and I've got this other program I'm running that's running. It's kind of like a virtual switcher, and so if I've appeared distracted from time to time, you'll understand that I'm both the on-air talent and the producer at the same time. But yeah, it's been a fun little exercise in figuring things out. And as we talked about earlier in the stream, we'll look at other technologies too to see if we can get more people involved in live chats if they'd like to do that. But this was like a proof of concept, I guess, today, and it seems to have actually gone pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it.
yeah, I'm happy with it too. It's worked pretty well. And also, I'd like to get you guys can send me emails or text me or whatever your ideas on using the YouTube channel as far as ideas for the individual members doing uploads on their systems, and if they're doing music they're listening to or that sort of thing, so we can start utilizing this channel as well. And then of course let's step up the forum use so we can get more stuff up there, and that way we can stay kind of live on the forums with regard to what's happening as well, and any of the other portals. So we'll make our way through this, and hopefully by end of summer we'll be able to have a big meeting and get back to it and do the things in person that we all like. So I appreciate everybody showing up for the live stream here, and Chris and I will schedule some things. I wanted to ask Paul Elliott. Paul, did you have anything that you wanted to add as far as updates on any of the things that are going on with you and what you know about?
Yeah. Okay. We'll wait for Paul here if he can chime in. Okay. See if Paul
Yeah.
madly typing here. We'll wait. Give him a moment here. But yeah. Well, anyway. Keep listening to music. It's a good thing for this type of situation here when you got free time and don't know what to do with it. Throw on a new album. Check out, support your. Yeah, I think I'll make a note that it's important to support your artists right now because a lot of them can't tour anymore. And if you can buy their albums online or however you like to buy the albums, that would help them because. They can't make the money from touring, which has become their main way of making money. So I would encourage you, whenever you can, and like an artist, try and purchase one of their albums. Bandcamp is one of my favorite ways to buy artist records, and because I know it goes right to the artist. Paul says, I'm getting a new system and website up and running. Yes, he made a post to the forums, and we look forward to checking out what Paul has always very interesting things to say and always has beautiful pictures. A lot of the pictures on our forum, on our website, are courtesy of Paul. He's always had wonderfully imaginative photos for us to look at, and we'll look forward to that. Back to you, John.
All right. Well, thanks everybody, and yeah, we'll schedule up the next one here within over the next week or two. We'll figure out when we'll do the next meeting and whether we want to try the Zoom or try another one of these, or mix it up. So anyway, thanks, Chris. Thanks to everybody, and let's all stay in touch and stay safe.
Okay, bye-bye. I'm going to shut down the stream. See
All
you
right.
soon.
Thanks.
John, you